Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
So, anger, am I right? My name's Kent. I'm a writer, YouTuber, and self-proclaimed hummus aficionado.
Hummus.
I don't know what I'm doing here, but with you watching, that makes two of us. I know what a lot of you are thinking right now. It's been how many years since Will Smith was at the Oscars? But hey, here we are. I started a YouTube channel just a few months ago, so we're going to talk about it now. This just in, Charlie Kirk. Oh, wait a minute. That's also already a few months behind. Not exactly breaking news at this point. You could probably call the Will Smith moment historical. But nonetheless, I think we can talk about it, since it has a lot to do with the subject matter of this video. Anger is the emotion which comes to the forefront at the blink of an eye and feels eternal. Only when it's finally gone do we think ourselves foolish for ever thinking it could last longer than a short-lived temper tantrum hyped up for no purpose other than to vent out the steam inside our heads. After the rage is gone, all we can hope for is that we haven't left a path of destruction in our midst. Sometimes we're not so lucky. In, as said before, recent history, no event sums up the consequences of an anger reaction quite like the Will Smith moment when he slapped Chris Rock. At the 2022 Oscars, Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith having short hair. This frustrated Jada as something she struggled with for some time, but who we of course want to focus on is her husband. In those moments, Will Smith came to face with the world he had almost no control over. Another man made a joke at his wife's expense regarding something she was self-conscious about in a crowded room with everyone laughing, as jokes often incite. To top it all off, it was also recorded on live TV with people across the globe watching at home. So Will looks at his wife, looks at the crowd laughing, sees the cameras running, and from his position, witnesses a wrongdoing he has almost no control of changing. Emphasis on almost no control, because there's of course one thing he can control. He looks up at Chris, the comedian center stage, halfway through another joke, the one responsible for the injustice standing right in front of him and his wife. Only a few steps away to get on stage. Say what you want about Will Smith losing control of his emotions, but when he walked up there and slapped the satire off of Chris's face, everyone stopped laughing. So after all, Will found a way to control the world around him. But was he better off than if he took no action at all? This episode is brought to you by Canadian Loonies and Toonies. The Canadian economy, it's alright. Mark Carney is going to solve all our problems. Unless, of course, you hate Mark Carney and love Pierre Poilievre. Yes, Pierre will solve all our problems, just so long as we can get Mark Carney out of power. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. Bah! Politics just makes me mad. Wait, wasn't this episode about stoicism? Right, so focus on what you can control. And you know what's definitely in your control? You can like and subscribe. The next day, Will knew he fucked up. He likely knew slapping Chris was the wrong thing to do even as he was walking on stage to square him up. That's how anger works. Some person, or sometimes a thing, has wronged you, and since you have no way of correcting the wrongdoing, you instead turn to correcting them. Violence and if not violence, then some elaborate vengeance, will cause the wrongdoer pain, and therefore give some sense of justice in the world. And yet, once our justice has been served, it is likely we have only brought more wrongdoing onto the world than anything else. Dwell on it some more, and you'll likely feel horrible ever doing such a thing in the first place. On the night Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Academy Awards, he ended up winning an Oscar only moments later. He walked up to the same stage where he just slapped someone, and took the opportunity to present himself as a fierce protector of his family and those around him. Although there is one crucial quote from his speech which clearly demonstrates his internal struggle.
I am overwhelmed by what God is calling on me to do and be in this world.
I am overwhelmed by what God is calling on me to do and be in this world. The moment he said this, you could tell he regretted his actions. This became obvious when he apologized in his speech and in the days that followed, where he'd be apologizing to Chris Rock, the Academy, and the rest of the world. Think of what could have happened if he could have held on to his anger for just a few seconds more. Instead of becoming overwhelmed by what God was calling on him to do, he could have just held on to his anger for a few more seconds. Those few more seconds could have helped calm his overwhelmed spirit. It could have been a few more seconds for him to assess other options other than focusing on the only option he saw. Instead of slapping Chris Rock, he may have walked up on stage and took the mic from the comedian and said, "My wife has suffered enough for her loss of hair, and I find the comments made about this inappropriate." Sure, it's still pretty freaking rude to come on stage and grab the mic from the Oscar host, but it would have been a whole lot better than the choice of physical violence. Every second spent withholding the action of vengeance is a second to think of a better solution. Think if Will would have held on to his anger for just a few minutes. If Will could have been patient enough, he could have walked on the podium for his acceptance speech without ever laying a hand on Chris. He could have had everyone's attention without tension in the air. And then he could have thanked the Academy for his award and possibly added, "I want to thank my beautiful wife Jada for being by me. She's a strong and fierce woman who takes on many challenges every day. Right now she is battling a medical issue which is causing hair loss, but she's a perfect 10 as the day I met her." Think of how those words would have resonated. Think of how people would have turned their attention to Chris for joking about her in the first place. The story could have played out a whole lot differently if Will could have held on, assessed the options, and acted with more reason in his mind and less hate gripped in his fists. There's no denying Will and Jada's complicated relationship at this time would have only heightened Will's frustration, but this is all the more reason for Will to ground himself. To give Will credit, the day after the slap, he did everything he could to apologize for his behavior. He publicly recognized what he did was wrong. He scheduled a private meeting with Chris Rock. He took action as much as he could to correct his wrongdoing. This all might seem like the least he could have done, but most barely make the effort to do this. You're already doing better than most if you can muster up the courage to admit you made a mistake. That said, not making the mistake in the first place is the better of the two scenarios. While angry, we can only see one bad option, but if we find the way to withhold action, we'll have more time to think, and if we have more time to think, we'll eventually see more than just one bad option. As Seneca puts it, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. And if you like that video, then you can check out my book where I talk about that and many other issues that might help you. It's got a title so edgy, I'm not even sure if I can say it on YouTube. So check it out in the description. And as always, if you want, you can like, subscribe, and all that other fun stuff. More videos coming, of course.